right, welcome back to the Robert Allen Friend Show, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler filling in for Robert Allen, and joining me now is Jason Whitlock. And Jason, I like to describe you as kind of like a media superstar. I think is one of the best ways to is that fair to call you that?
I think of myself more as a supersized meal, but
hey man,
I'll take it.
Okay, well, hey, whatever works. Jason is, I know, man, the list of everything that you've been on, ESPN, wrote for the Kansas City Star, or pardon me, it's not the Star, it's called the, what was the name of it there?
Kansas City Star.
Yeah, it was a Star, okay. Kansas City Star, and obviously with Fox Sports with Speak for Yourself, and then now with Outkick, which I got to say, I've been reading Outkick for a long time now. My first question for you, first of all, thanks for getting some time to come on with me here. My first question would be for you, what made you decide to give it a shot with Outkick and instead of continuing with Speak for Yourself?
I just wanted the complete and total freedom to say what I want and to be as honest as I want to be. And not that there was anybody objecting to what I was doing at Fox Sports, but, I mean, there's just certain things you can't say when you're that tied to, corporate media outlets. And so that was one part of it. And then the second part was just, if you look around at who's actually having tremendous success, who gets to be their authentic self, it's the guys like Joe Rogan or Dave Portnoy or Bill Simmons that have built their own platform. And so I wanted to partner with Clay and try to build Outkick into a major sports media outlet where I had the freedom and everybody on the site had the freedom to be as honest as they want to be and as outspoken and stick to their values and not worry about whether Twitter or social media agree with your take. And so I think for the freedom and the financial reward, it just made sense for me to partner with Clay Travis at Outkick.
Yeah, you guys have been obviously knocking it out of the park with all the content. I think too your articles have been fantastic since you've gotten there. To you, and you mentioned a bunch of other names there that have done a good job of also creating their own media super worlds, basically. But what to you makes Outkick different really than anywhere else? Because there's people that listen to this probably are hearing about Outkick for the first time. To them and to everyone else, tell everybody what makes Outkick the one spot for everything sports and even more than that.
Well, I just think in this current era, our content will strike people as fearless because it's just more honest, I think, than you can get in most mainstream media outlets. And it sticks to the values that are traditional in sports. And I think that a lot of the sports media has gone to this social justice warrior move and this very far left-wing point of view and the demonizing everybody that's not on board with Black Lives Matters or whatever is the cause celeb over social media and Twitter. I think most media outlets are addicted to social media and afraid of Twitter lynch mobs, and we're just not at Outkick. I just think it's going to be just a more honest presentation of the news and a more honest, down the middle of the road take on whatever's going on in the sports world.
Jason Whitlock with Outkick.com joining me right now on the Robert Allen Friend Show with Patrick Wheeler. How did you? I got to switch you to an actual sports question here. How do you feel about the lack of response that has not been there obviously to this whole Deshaun Jackson anti-Semitic post mess?
I think I'll answer it this way. I like the way that Julian Edelman handled it and offered Deshaun an opportunity to learn from each other. And I think that's the appropriate way to handle it. I think that Deshaun Jackson's comments clearly were out of bounds and uninformed and stupid. And, I understand why people in the Jewish community and people that are just pro-fairness would be upset. but I'm someone that wants to see all these athletes and everybody given the chance to recover from their mistakes. I think that some people have a right to be upset at the hypocrisy of just there wasn't as much backlash to what Deshaun Jackson did as the over-the-top backlash to Drew Brees saying he disagrees with anybody that kneels during the national anthem.
Sure.
A very, harmless comment, an opinion he has a right to, a comment that doesn't expose him as racist in any fashion. But the whole NFL shouted him down and forced him to apologize. And it's crickets, basically, with the Deshaun Jackson comment. That exposes the kind of hypocrisy we have going on in the sports world right now. And to me, if you go to Outkick, you can see why we're different than everybody else. We covered those issues, I think, in a more fair and just way than pretty much everybody else in the sports media.
With the NFL this year, we all know what happened with the ratings when the kneeling and protesting all that started back in 2016. Do you see ratings going down again this season with all the new political protests in place, including the Black National Anthem being played in the first week, all of that stuff? How do you see ratings rebounding with that?
Well, I think they were already going to be in a tough spot just because of the corona pandemic, which I think maybe could have worked in their favor, actually, in terms of TV ratings, people at home with nothing to do. But I certainly think even if somehow they don't kneel during the national anthem and they back off of all this, I think there's already been a lot of damage done to the NFL just this offseason. And just these discussions and the thought of having two different national anthems. If they go ahead and have the two different national anthems, and if most of the players are standing during the Black national anthem, and then most of the players and coaches take a knee during the actual national anthem, I think you could see 30-40% of the NFL audience just disappear. And that it'll be a jump the shark moment that I'm not sure the NFL will ever recover from.
Yeah, that's an extremely significant number. Jason Whitlock joining me here on AAA Sports Radio Network. For Outkick, what is your guys, everyone there, the ultimate goal? I mean, you guys, how big do you really think that Outkick could become with all, like you said, all the other media outlets out there kind of the same in a way? How big do you think Outkick could become before it's all said and done?
Well, I think the sky's the limit. I really do. I think that we could become the place for sports fans and rival anybody in that space. I just look at what Barstool Sports has done with its podcast network. Their podcast network dwarfs ESPN's podcast network. We're going to build a podcast network at Outkick. Don't know if we'll challenge Barstool or ESPN, but we're certainly going to try. And I think as it relates to written content and people just looking for some sanity and not wanting a finger wagged at them and told that, they're racist scum, I think anybody that's tired of that will find us a welcome outlet. And I think for Black sports fans who are, for fairness and just want a more objective, honest take, I think they're going to love us as well. And so, we think we're going to be able to challenge any and everybody over time as we build this thing out.
And I think I already know how you feel about this, but I got to ask anyways. With not just the NFL, but politics and sports in general has been a topic for a long time now. Ultimately, in the future, depending on how all this plays out, is it good or bad for sports to embrace politics?
It's terrible. I mean, it's just the wrong thing. These guys are out over their skis, as you can see with Deshaun Jackson, Steven Jackson, and LeBron James, just across the board. They're just out over their skis. There's nothing wrong with being the best athlete you can be and then trying to become more politically, socially active when you have the actual time to devote attention to those issues. I just think and look, I'm not a shut up and dribble guy. I'm more of a shut up and talk about what you actually know guy. And I just don't think a lot of these guys know what they're talking about. I think they're pandering to social media and Twitter rewards race baiting and divisiveness, and they're just giving into that. And so, they need to leave politics out of sports. Their business model has been built on that. They're disrupting their business model, and I guess they think they're going to replace it. These fans that they run off with a different sort of fans, I think they're going to learn a very tough lesson. I think all of sports is being damaged by this. But, I don't know if you can put the toothpaste back in the bottle.
Jason Whitlock here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Do you, in your opinion, see for sure, let's say, forget all the other sports for now, NFL, do you see them having a season this year and starting on time?
I don't see them starting on time. I do expect them to have some sort of season, although I would not be shocked if the season is delayed, not just 1 month, but maybe 2 or 3 months. But I do expect them to have some sort of season. There's just too much money riding on it. Television needs the programming, the content. Live sports are the only things that draw huge ratings. I expect some sort of season, but I expect it to be delayed.
Last thing here for you, regarding Outkick and yourself with having all that TV experience and everything else, when you mentioned the podcast network you guys are going to try to grow, are you going to be a part of having, for instance, your own podcast or any more like audio video from you as well?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to move to Nashville here at the end of this month, and once I get there, we're going to start podcasting in the middle of August, and there'll be a video component to the podcast. So we want to be active in all those spaces.
Well, listen, if you like what you heard from Jason Whitlock, you should consider becoming an Outkick VIP. It's just $99 a year. You get exclusive access to Clay Travis's national radio show and the events Clay and Jason will sponsor. Outkick.com, as he said, is the fearless and authentic voice of sports fans nationwide. Listen, I'm a VIP myself, and it's been one of the best sports decisions I've made in a long time regarding content and everything else that comes from it. Check out Outkick. Jason, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time, man, and stay safe out there.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jason Whitlock joining me here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. He's fantastic. He really is. I definitely recommend, like I said, and I would not recommend anything that I haven't done myself, and that includes signing up for that VIP, which is really, really fantastic. And you can go and check out the Outkick website, which, this is something that I followed for years before even getting here. It has, and when they say that it's grown, I mean, it has grown. You will, and you can mark my words now, in a year's time, maybe even less than that, you will hear about Outkick, because they are the next media mogul rising. That's for sure. And I definitely recommend checking it out. Clay Travis is the founder. Again, he's on our station occasionally. We play the I think he's in the time slot that right now this show is on when we don't have our programming going on. So definitely check it out if you want a new perspective on the sports world. Can't thank Jason enough. That was awesome. He did a great job.